Hi everyone, I want to talk to you about vibe coding, what it is for, how you should use it, and what do I think about it. So let me first start with just explaining what is the origin of the phrase vibe coding. It was originally started with this post by Andrej Karpathy. I think he's one of the co-founder of OpenAI. And if you're looking at his description, he's just describing how fast it is in beginning of 2025, how fast it is to just write some changes on the code. In this description, it's just saying like, yeah, decided to change the sidebar, so the machine do it and stuff like that. I think the end is very important because what he's describing, and definitely he knows a thing or two about software development, he's just saying it was a great thing for a weekend project and I'm building a project or a web app, but it's not really coding, it just say stuff, run stuff, and copy paste stuff. What he's actually describing as a developer that, yeah, I'm not going to put that on production, I'm just playing with things. And since then, we've been a year, models become smarter, and we start seeing actually real vibe coding product that you can subscribe to today and write your own stuff, which is great, but we still need to understand what is it and what is it good for, because when we're coming to engineering, we don't have bad tools, but we have tools that are good for a specific task and other tools that are good for other tasks, and if you mix to them, you might get the wrong results. So before I start explaining you about vibe coding and what is really good for, let me just say why I am, as a software developer, are not really afraid of vibe coding and actually using it for my own needs. And that's because, well, I'm gonna quote Mark Twain, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. Let me take you back 25 years ago. 25 years ago, at the beginning of 2000, we had something very similar. Before that, if you want to have regular website with, let's say, a blog, you have to have software engineer to write you this website. And if you want to have, let's say you already created the website, but you want to change some words inside of it, you will have to contact your developer and ask to change the phrase on the top of the website or to add another blog post to your website. You have to have developers for that. In the beginning of 2000, came a new method of doing that called CMS, Content Management System, which means that the developer build templates of pages and created a system that you as a user could log in into that side of the website and change the words, even change some of the colors. Later on, change the position of content inside the page. And then Drupal, later on WordPress, and then Joomla were the three major players in that game and allowed anyone to update a website. But they also make it very easy to build it. So you don't have to be a developer to build the website. You can just read a few manuals on the internet and you can deploy this platform on a hosted server and start build your own website. And now it become a new professional, a new job title, which called web builder, which are not necessarily web developer. Whether they have the skill of software development or not, they didn't necessarily have to use it. They could just deploy the platform, start building it with a nice web UI system, and eventually sell it to a customer. And of course, when that happened, the prices of creating website dropped down because now there come into the market new people that didn't have to learn and have the experience of building software, and they actually charge less. And that makes sense. There was only one small little problem. They were limited with the capacity of what they can build. Because, with all due respect, you couldn't build all website. You could build some. You could build, let's say, marketing website. You can build it for your eye doctor or for your local restaurant or for whatever. But if you want a website that connected to, I don't know, stock exchange and giving on real time a transaction and system that actually get money from your customer, forget about WordPress. It won't work. I mean, you could build it, but now you need a software developer that will use WordPress as the foundation of the website, especially for the CMS part. But all the other mechanic, that needs some engineer to solve those problems and to make sure that they are secure, they are fast. You cannot have this type of website crashing on you. or exposing all your customers' details. So I still had jobs to do. I just didn't need to handle all the cheap customers that only need some website with a few pages. I immediately send them to my colleague who are web builder. But my colleague who are web builder, when they came to a point that they said, okay, we build the foundation, but there is a specific thing in the website that we need an expertise, they called me and said, can you just come in and help us figure it out? Or we have a bug in Drupal and we don't know how to solve it. What should we do? I came and I look at the code of Drupal because I know how to read code and I know how to fix it, and I solved the problem. Or I created a new extension that allowed them to do something much more complicated. So I still had job. I don't worry about it. And I still think that in vibe coding area, I still have job. I don't worry about it. And now today, we are a year after vibe coding just began. And I have to tell you something. It's really, really rhymed the same thing that happened in 2000. Because I see a lot of publicity that coming and said, yeah, we can vibe code everything. I saw it on commercial on YouTube and I was just laughing. Really? You can vibe code anything that I can think of? Are you seriously wrong? Are you lying to your customers? Come on. Not only about security, but actually solving real problem. No, it's not there. Don't listen to what they're trying to sell you. But you do need to understand that there is a lot of way that you can use vibe coding for your own good. And I'm going to give you a few examples, personal example, and then product example. So if you're a product manager, you can actually vibe code and get something out of it. Let's just have a short understanding of what is vibe coding for. Vibe coding is to get the vibe out of something that we're coding, that we're building. It's not necessarily mean that we can immediately deploy it on production. It just means that we are doing the first phase of ideation of an idea. And this is something that actually we're doing for years now. Usually, before we had vibe coding, we either need a developer in the room to help us just throw something on the screen and see how it feels. Do we want to move on or not? We used to call it proof of concept. And I remember 10 years ago, I was running workshops and taught them how to sketch it on a paper. So we had a designer and they just, drop ideas and sketch them. And then we were looking at the sketch that, oh, that actually could be very, very nice. Later on, we had Figma is a great tool to do that. But now we actually don't need to do it manually anymore. We can just ask AI tools to build it for us and it's actually going to work. We can actually play with the buttons, which we couldn't do that on the workshops before. And this is like next step, because in order for people with ideas to understand if their idea really work, they need to play with it, touch it. And vibe coding helps you really fast understand how it's feel. And if you feel that it's off, you can change the color, change the scene, change the button, whatever you need, and then get a better understanding. So vibe coding is amazing for the first part of understanding what we're going to build later on. But don't confuse it with all the parts that come after it, because after we get understanding of what we want to build, then we need to create all the product requirement for it, and we need to move on and create a system design for it, and we need to move on and on and on. And there is like a very good methodology that works for years for software developer how to build a product. Vibe coding is not doing everything, so we need to understand where it's placed. And I have so many friends calling me and said, we vibe code this with Lovable, and now we have a problem and we cannot solve it with Lovable. Or now we want to go to production, but we don't understand how. And I'm like, yeah, you need a software developer. You need to understand that you just did the first part out of many parts, but you just decided from there to jump forward, and you cannot do it. Why? Because there is security problem with those vibe coding, because there is understanding of a lot of software engineering problems that need to be solved that, I'm sorry, none of those systems out there are actually solving that. But I do agree, for some cases, it starts feeling like WordPress in the beginning. Yeah, if you need to create your own website, today, you could probably use a vibe code platform under the condition that your website is not collecting sensitive data of user, under the condition that you understand that, well, it could be that you will try to change something small and it's completely gonna crash on you and you don't have the tool to fix it. All of that assumption will probably tell you that, yeah, for small stuff, I can definitely use it, but for bigger stuff, it's only the first part. Okay, so now I'm gonna tell you how I'm using vibe coding. When it comes to a personal project, weekend project, oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I will give you a quick example. For this weekend project, we wanted to pick a restaurant for a few friends together, and since some of us have food allergy and other like me are food picky, it was a little bit nightmare to do it on a WhatsApp group. So instead of that, I went to AI Studio and easily I just vibe coded a website that I from AI Studio could publish very easily. And now, as you can see, each one of us just went through the restaurant. Clicking on a restaurant will of course move you to an area that another page that will show you all the details of the restaurant. And the website itself actually told us which restaurants are agreed by everyone. And then we, instead of just choosing for all of those lists, we just need to pick one or two of those and decide on that. It was like a weekend project, even not a weekend, like an hour project. And yeah, I had no problem publishing it because I gonna kill that after this video. Very easy to do. It's a great tool. It helps us, and that's it. That's great idea for vibe coding. But that's for my personal need. I'm definitely not going to make it into a company that sells this service to people and start managing people data and where they're going to eat. That's a completely more complicated project that, well, vibe coding is not the right solution for it. Still too buggy, still too much problem with security and other stuff. So yeah, that's the main difference. But I want to show you another project that will take us a little bit into how I think product manager could use vibe coding for their needs. So for this example, let's say I'm going to take this is a MakerWords website, not my website. But it's good for finding and printing on your 3D printing project that other people did and share. It's a very nice website, but let's say I'm the product manager of this website and I'm saying, okay, I like the idea that people need to scroll down and see all the project, but I want to do it a little bit more like, I don't know, Netflix style. So each category have its own line and then you can scroll left and right. And then you can see more different category in one place, not only all of them or just the 3D one or just the art. So I went into AI Studio. I use for this Gemini 3 Flash because I think it will be best for this task. I really encourage you to try same project with different model. Actually, you can also do it with the same model. You will get different results because that's the basic foundation of LLM. You will always get non-deterministic answer, which means every time you'll get a different answer. If you start vibe coding and you don't like what happened, just start again. You'll get a different answer and move on from there. I started with something very simple. I told them I'm giving you a screenshot of my website and I want to have a carousel style Netflix. We did a few iterations, didn't really get me right on the right time, but on the last event, as you can see, I can scroll left and right on each category. Yeah, it's not exactly the same images, but the look and feel of the website, it's the same look and feel of the website. As a product manager, I don't care. I just want to have the feeling to see, is that making more sense or not? Now I can bring it to the rest of my team and say, do you think that's a better way or not? Do you think it will work for us or not? Before I'm even troubling the development team and saying, can you do it? Well, I obviously know that they can do it. Look, I just made it. They could come back and say, this is maybe not for scrolling left and right, but they could come back and say, we understand that you can do it, but this will violate security or, I don't know, country regulation, and we actually cannot do it. That's fine, but not the technical part. Technical part will probably work. So once I have this, remember, we are on the first part, it's not ready for production. All I need to do is something very simple. I could probably go here and share it, either publish it or share it with the dev team and says, this is what I build, start building it. That's going to be, and just assign it, I don't know, to a Jira ticket or whatever. Or I can actually go one step forward. And what I did in the end here is I told the tools, I want you to write a PRD, that's a product requirement document, for this feature. And sometimes I'm just saying for this feature, sometimes I'm saying for the entire solution, sometimes just for a specific one. Usually I have my own way to write PRD, so I can actually explain how I want the machine to write the PRD for me. And if I have like a template, I can just add a template and say, okay, do it like this. I could ask it to store it with the code as another document, and then when I'm sharing the entire code with the dev team, they will already have the PRD inside, or I can just copy paste what I want. And look at the document that it created. It's a very nice description of the feature, telling exactly what needs to be done. Some of it I will probably remove, so I don't need the UI UX design because I have a team for that. I probably should remove any technical requirement because that's not my place. That's why we have developers. I will probably keep the success metrics. And if I don't like something, I either manually change it or ask the LLM, I want you to improve this, I want you to remove this, just vibe with that as well. But I'm assuming that if you are the product manager, you have the expertise to understand if that's a good requirement or not and adjust it to be a good requirement, because LLM doesn't always write. They always produce an answer. That answer doesn't necessarily have to be a good answer. But you, as the product manager, won't send a PRD that is not good, right? You have the understanding to see if it's good or not, and leave the code to the people who are trained to read code and understand it and make sure that it's a quality code. So once I finish with that, I can move on, send it to the next team, and they will start working with that. That's how I'm looking at vibe coding today. There is a mix about developers that using vibe code for the other part of this development cycles. And I will address that on my next video because I think we are the developers are mistaking between vibe coding and writing code with machine. And there's a difference between them. And I will explain everything on my next video. Just subscribe. If you learned something new, please like so other people could see it too. Thank you very much. See you in the next one.